So after looking back at last episode's footage, I've come to the conclusion that what appeared to be a visual bug mid-stage at the no-bad ended up being a legitimate bug that meant that riders weren't losing energy moving up the peloton. Whilst I still would have picked up a 1-2 finish from that race either way, Watson definitely should have finished 7th at best. And so that led to me sounding oddly deflated for someone who just achieved a big victory, because I didn't earn that result with Watson at least. I was gifted it. This is also the reason why I felt like I'd stolen a victory at last year's Chrono Ridge with Ward, because the rider who was well ahead of the pack simply did not follow through with his attack to the end of the stage. This year, however, we may well win it legitimately, as it's not a strong field and Ward is very well suited to this sort of event. Indeed, it already looks like we're going to pull this off, because we can get to the foot of the climb and most of the field can't. Well, actually, Weiss can do it because he's such a powerful rouleur, so Weiss just falls short of making it to the 3s, which means he's probably going to finish 3rd. No! I was going to mention that the 3rd rider to make the foot of the climb went way short for no good reason, but 3 other riders managed to overtake Weiss, so it's mostly just going to be Ward scoring our points today, but even so, that's still a huge points haul overall. And in fact, Campbell's even managed to sneak himself into the top 10, so it's a triple score for us. 675 points total? Where's that putting us in the rankings? Anyway, that makes it 2 Chrono Ridge victories in 2 years for Christopher Ward, and it's turned him into a bona fide star at this level of competition. I'm going to leave his recovery at 3 from here. I'm just going to focus on energy per turn at level 7, attack per turn level 8, and probably energy again at level 9. Oh boy. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of that stat split, but this guy is just too good to pass up, especially if we want to make it into Pro next season. There's still a chance we might get into it this season. Because if you look at the rankings, we do have a tour that I'm not expecting to do much in coming up, but we are ahead of Ultra Boost Energy Drink, and if they mess up at Bizarra Sprints, we're secure in 2nd. Okay, it wasn't Bizarra Sprints, it was Lannan Grand Prix, and they should get good points here. They've got the top rider. Yeah, they're going to get top points. That I feel may work out for the best for us, because I don't want to promote to Pro for one more season yet. Well, that was a misclick with Campbell. Good thing it was only a helper rider and not the guy I'm riding for, which is Pavlov here. I'd also like to ride for Watson, but he is going to lose time in this TT despite the initial climb suiting him. I don't think Campbell lost too much time from the misclick in the end, because that was close to his max move anyway. In any case, Pavlov is our lead rider on GC, which is exactly the way it should be, because we have a couple of cobble stages on this tour. I will, however, also ride for Watson, even though he lost time in that first stage. And I'll comment further on that a little bit later, but right now we've got the peloton acting mad. They've ridden way past this crest. They're not letting a breakaway go at all today. However, that split in the peloton has resulted in a lot of pair riders moving short. They're still not going to catch up though, so looks like we've got another short move to come. As I was saying before I got sidetracked, I'd look to perform with Watson specifically because he's the one that's gained experience points towards his next level up out of the bug, and so he's the one who should earn experience points to be able to redress. However, as it turns out, it might be Campbell who's our strongest rider in this one, even though I thought that if it wasn't going to be Watson, it would be Pavlov. I'm going to move to P2 early. We can't get a lot of slipstream from this mountain, and I have the sneaking suspicion someone's going to attack early. I don't think there's any risk of getting attacked on this turn, but with the technical section coming up, we should still be in P1 just to avoid the penalty for that. I think the slipstream gained would not be worth it. Well, someone has in fact attacked, but that's awfully early to be launching a move with the downhill section still to come. They might still gain time on the field, but they're going to be knackering themselves in the GC battle, even if they win this stage. Or maybe I sold the move short because he's managed to get to the 14 node. The peloton's only going to get to the 6. And from there, the question becomes whether or not we launch now or wait for a more opportune time. We want to end up on that node next turn. The peloton can reach it. I think we just have to follow the peloton for now. That ended up being the right decision because someone in the relays decided to take the peloton even further, and this will result in a better finishing time for us. From here, the big question is, do we risk dropping back into P2 because who's got the pulling power? And honestly, the peloton's not looking like they have enough of their pulling power for my liking. Not sure I understand that peloton logic because I thought this was the relay pull, and hence it should follow the relay pull. But if that is where the peloton is going, then we were right to stay in P1. This, however, is the stage where we find out who our true leaders are. Right now, unless Pavlov pulls off a miracle, it looks like he's going to be the second helper because Campbell and Watson are looking pretty good. Okay, where's the peloton node? Great, Jenkins has been dropped because I did have no idea where the peloton node was going. This really hurts me because now I may have to make a choice of who's pulling us along a lot earlier. I'm going to take a leech for a little bit because if the relays decided to drop our helper and our best ranked rider on GC as 10th, it's not our responsibility to pull right now. I mean, whether or not we choose to relay, we'll want to be at the front when the murder death place zone starts. Jenkins is still in with a chance of catching back up, but I can't help but feel that the peloton's going to jump past this crest and straight into the foot of the cobbles. That's pretty much exactly what they've decided to do, although I actually want us to be here for Watson's sake, so Campbell will take that pull up. I get the feeling Watson's going to get dropped though. He'll run out of attack points, which makes me wonder if I should invest in attack next level up. That is a real leg breaker of a move. I mean, my other riders have bonuses, so it's not going to be that bad for them, but Watson is down. He's going to fall one node short of the mark because he doesn't have much attack per turn either. I just thought that had I maxed move with Watson, I could have at least taken the cobbles out of his next move, but we weren't catching the peloton anyway, so it's no big deal. Really attempted to go for a tandem attack here, but we don't have the attack points to sustain such a move. I think we have to hang back. Now that's a lot of damage. All that leeching and we still weren't able to make anything of it. I ultimately dropped time to a couple of riders because I felt obliged to take the relay with Campbell on the last turn since we hadn't done any work that stage. I've made a mental note that we should take the burden of the peloton next stage since we didn't. It's clear that Campbell's going to be our strongest rider and that Pavlov will struggle to maintain his position in the GC. I would send Watson in the breakaway, but I'm not going after the mountain jersey, and I think this is the type of stage where you need to make a late attack if you want any chance of winning it. In any case, the peloton would not have allowed a breakaway to go because they're making a massive move into the foot of this climb. Never mind, they're allowing one to go now. They're going to two-turn this. I feel like whilst we have Pavlov up here, I want to go long to dissuade an attack for at least one more turn because Ramos and Medvedev could attack right now. Though given that I also want to avoid burning attack when moving up, was that actually just setting it up for my opposition? That's bad news for Watson though, he can't get up just yet. Nonetheless, if we consider that the peloton is going really hard, it's a good position for Watson to be in because he doesn't mind if he fails and loses time. He's just interested in jagging the stage at the end. And if we're going for that poacher strategy, we've got to count on them only riding to the foot of the climb and no one being silly enough to attack. Oh, yellow jersey dropped on the final mountain. We are in position A to do something if we so wish. Maybe not after this, although we could still take the relay and have a max attack move to finish. However, because we're redressing for that earlier third place finish, I'm actually going to move short. Okay, I didn't need to do that. A couple of riders attacked anyway. Enough riders, in fact, that the best Herman could have hoped for had he sprinted was 9th. Campbell loses a bit of time, although we do gain a couple of positions because Lecomte was... Well, actually, we don't gain that position despite Lecomte getting dropped, but we are top 5. However, everyone is tired leading into this final stage. There is a good chance that we lose a significant amount of time, but we do have a full turn in hand to hold on to 5th. It's a pretty short stage with a solo breakaway. I don't think this is going to be tough enough for Campbell to be seriously challenged, so his 5th place result will be safe, but conversely that means everyone else's position will be safe too. I don't expect Lecomte to blow up again. Well, we're at the end of the stage and they're riding like mad, so maybe I spoke too soon about Campbell not being in trouble here because they are using up a lot of energy here. Watson's probably going to get shelled before we're done. Oh, the yellow jersey took the bait. This has suddenly given Campbell a chance to make more places up. But there are some much stronger riders in this that could easily... Okay, I've just realised none of the riders ahead of us are in this, and Campbell is. On paper, we could go as far as to win this tour, because Lecomte and Duval are in A1, Ramos is in A2, Taleb has dropped all the way to A4, so Campbell stands to win the tour by moving to here, but that moves us up into Pro, and it would be Watson's extra score at Norboud making the difference. Screw it. Cannot believe that Campbell's managed to pull that off in the end. Everyone that could have been a threat just fell by the wayside at the end, and well, it's 250 points, I believe. Yes, it is. And actually, looking at the final score, if we consider that the worst possible finish for Watson back at the Nobald was 9th, that still would have been 20 points. So take 80 points off of that, and we've still just about won amateur division, which means I don't have to feel guilty about not redressing. I was actually planning on giving Campbell a sprint specialization because we need to fill a need. Jenkins I'm going to replace. But if Leclerc is coming in and we're going to need him because we're moving up to Pro, then I think Campbell should just become a pure rouleur. I'm still a little bit apprehensive about the prospect of going to Pro there this early. I would have liked one more season to develop my squad, but we're taking the fast track because the AI could still use some work, even on hard difficulty.